Nuklearwaffen gelten immer noch als eine der tödlichsten Waffenarten, die uns Menschen zur Verfügung stehen. Mit dem gesamten Atomarsenal der Welt wären wir durchaus in der Lage, unserem Dasein hier und jetzt ein Ende zu setzen. Auch UFOs zeigen seit Jahrzehnten ein besonderes Interesse an dieser Technologie. Immer wieder kommt es zu Sichtungen nicht identifizierbarer Objekte in der Nähe von Nuklearstützpunkten. In einigen Fällen kam es dabei sogar zu Interaktion des Phänomens mit den Waffen. Ich möchte heute also die Verbindung von UFOs und Nuklearwaffen betrachten. Beginnen wir in einem der finstersten Kapitel der Menschheit. Die Grauen des Zweiten Weltkriegs haben bereits Millionen Leben gekostet und in den geheimen Anlagen der Mächte wird versucht, eine neuartige Waffe zu entwickeln, die den Krieg ein für alle Mal entscheiden soll. Am 6. August 1945 kam es dann letztendlich zum Abwurf der neuen Atombombe auf Hiroshima in Japan. Am 9. August folgte eine zweite Bombe auf Nagasaki. Die Zerstörungskraft dieser neuen Superwaffe entsetzte die Weltöffentlichkeit und führte zur Kapitulation Japans und demnach auch zum Ende des Zweiten Weltkriegs. Das atomare Zeitalter hatte begonnen. Zeitgleich standen wir mit dem Ende des Zweiten Weltkriegs aber auch am Beginn des Kalten Kriegs. Die Supermächte USA und die Sowjetunion fanden sich unmittelbar in einem Konflikt der Systeme wieder, welcher mehrere Jahrzehnte andauern und zudem von einem atomaren Wettrüsten geprägt sein sollte. Die Welt befand sich zu dieser Zeit des Öfteren am Abgrund und fürchtete die totale nukleare Zerstörung, falls es zu einem direkten Konflikt der Supermächte kommen würde. Einige der Militärstützpunkte, in denen die Nuklearwaffen gelagert wurden, erlebten zu dieser Zeit unerklärliche Vorkommnisse mit unidentifizierten Flugobjekten. Der Ufologe und Autor Robert Hastings nahm sich dem Thema an und interviewte eine Vielzahl von Augenzeugen, vom Radartechniker bis hin zu den Verantwortlichen für die Nuklearraketenstarts. Bei seiner Arbeit fand er zudem offizielle Dokumente des FBIs, die aussagen, dass es 1945 zu UFO-Sichtungen rund um die Basis Los Alamos gekommen ist, der größten damaligen Nuklearwaffenforschungseinrichtung. Des Weiteren kam es zu dieser Zeit zu Sichtungen rund um die Sandia Labs, der Einrichtung, in der die Waffen gebaut wurden. Die Dokumente werde ich in der Beschreibung verlinken. Robert Hastings ist sich sicher, dass das UFO-Phänomen zum einen real ist und wir es dabei mit einer fremden Intelligenz zu tun haben, die ein besonderes Interesse an unseren Atomwaffen zeigt.
What's your theory behind what's going on here with these sightings?
Documents released via the Freedom of Information Act confirm that these types of incidents have occurred going back to 1948. The documents describe saucer-shaped objects whose capabilities are vastly beyond anything that we have, the Russians have. I think the logical explanation is we're dealing with visitors from somewhere else. Regardless, there are a number of cases now. I've interviewed over 120 former or retired Air Force personnel who've talked about UFO incursions at missile sites, at nuclear weapons storage areas. The incident at Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana in 1967 did involve the appearance of a saucer-shaped object above a nuclear missile launch site. Seconds later, all 10 of these missiles controlled by this site malfunctioned. And the two officers involved, including former Captain Bob Salas, who was at the press conference on Monday, by the way, testified that he was sworn to secrecy and told never to discuss this. He kept his silence until 1996. All the gentlemen who appeared with me at the press club believe the American people have a right to know the facts.
But they didn't necessarily believe that theory about why those 10 nuclear sites were deactivated. Why do you believe so strongly that that was truly happening and that it was the result of UFOs as opposed to, let's just say, a malfunction or a military exercise?
Well, what you've just said is not entirely correct. They all agree that there was no technical explanation for what occurred. In fact, the engineering reports from Boeing Corporation stated just that. In fact, all 7 of the persons who appeared with me believe that we are dealing with extraterrestrials. Some of them stated it explicitly at the press conference. What they do not necessarily agree with, 3 of the 7 agreed with me that these probably these actions represent a signal being sent I'm of the opinion that whoever are aboard these craft are telling us and the Russians, because these things have taken place in the former Soviet Union, that humans are playing with fire by possessing and threatening to use nuclear weapons. That is speculative on my part. I've always made that clear. But the persons who were at the sites, who witnessed the craft, say that there is no technology on Earth that could account for what they witnessed.
Your press conference yesterday, Robert, certainly sparked an awful lot of conversation around our offices yesterday. We were talking about this throughout the day, and it raised a number of questions, such as, who are these aliens? Where did they come from? How did they get here? Why, if they have the technology to travel on an interstellar basis, do they care about what we're doing?
I have a book called UFOs and Nukes. I devote an entire chapter to attempting to answer the questions you've just asked. I think most of the answers to those questions are in the realm of speculation, frankly. We don't know. The people at the Pentagon and the CIA and the Kremlin may know the answers to your questions. However, what I simply point out is that you have countless incidents now, and I've investigated over 100 of them and have over 100 witnesses, indicate that craft of vastly superior capabilities have been monitoring the U.S. nuclear arms program since the 1940s, and on occasion, according to these ex-military personnel, have tampered with the weapons. What I also point out is the persons who spoke with me on Monday, by the way, again at the press club, were persons who were vetted by the U.S. government to launch or otherwise operate weapons of mass destruction.
Right.
These are clearly level-headed persons that are now saying that UFOs have shut down our nuclear weapons.
Wie wir aus diesem Interview entnehmen konnten, kam es nicht nur zu Sichtungen, sondern auch zur Interaktion der Objekte mit den Atomwaffen. Ein bekannter Fall spielte sich 1964 an der Vandenberg Air Force Basis in Kalifornien ab. Professor Robert Jacobs war zu dieser Zeit der Verantwortliche für das Filmen der Raketentests. Bei diesen Tests wurden allerdings keine echten Nuklearsprengköpfe, sondern lediglich Dummies benutzt. Trotzdem kam es zu einem UFO-Zwischenfall.
They counted down the missile. We heard engine ignition, liftoff. We knew the missile was underway. And we were looking down southwest, and the missile popped up through the fog. It was just beautiful. And I hollered, "There it is!" And our guys on our M45 tracking mount with 180-inch lenses on it got it. And the big BU telescope swung over and got it, and we followed the thing, and sure enough, we could see all three stages of powered flight as they burned out and dropped away. And then, of course, to our naked eye, all we saw was a smoke trail going off into subspace as it headed off toward its target, which was Eniwetok Island, Eniwetok Atoll. So we whooped and shouted and heard the film wrap off in the BU telescope, and figured, well, that was our first big deal, and we got it. We sent the film back down to Vandenberg, and I don't know exactly how long it was after the event. It might have been a day or two. I was called into Major Mansman's office at the 1st Strategic Aerospace Division headquarters. And I walked into his office, and they had a screen and a 16mm projector set up. There was a couch, and Major Mansman said, "Sit down," and there were two guys, as I recall, in gray suits, civilian clothes, which was fairly unusual. Major Mansman said, "Watch this," and turned on the film projector. And I watched the screen, and there was the launch from a day or two before at Big Sur. It was quite exciting because of the length of the telescope. As the Atlas missile entered the frame, we could see the whole third stage, which has two rocket nozzles like this and one in the center, a gimbaled one in the center, filling our frame from about 160 miles. That was pretty exciting optics. We watched that stage burn out, we watched the second stage burn out, we watched the third stage burn out, and into the frame came something else. It flew into the frame like this, and it shot a beam of light at the warhead, which is represented by my thumb here. Now, remember, all this stuff is flying at several thousand miles an hour. So this thing fires a beam of light at the warhead, hits it, and then this thing flies up like this. Meanwhile, we're all going like this, fires another beam of light, goes around like this, we're going like this, fires another beam of light, goes down like this, fires another beam of light, and then flies out the way it came in. And the warhead tumbles out of space.
Die Rakete wurde also von einem unbekannten Flugobjekt mit einem Lichtstrahl beschossen, bis der Sprengkopf einfach vom Himmel fiel. Die Agenten konfiszierten den interessanten Teil des Films und legten Professor Jacobs eindringlich nahe, nie wieder über den Vorfall zu sprechen. Erst Jahrzehnte danach ging er an die Öffentlichkeit. Ein weiterer bedeutsamer Fall erübrigte sich 1967 an der Malmstrom Air Force Basis in Montana. Captain Robert Salas ist dabei einer der zentralen Zeugen. Am Morgen des 16. März wurde ein UFO über der Basis gesichtet, auf der es auch Raketensilos mit Nuklearwaffen gab.
I received a call from my topside security guard, who's the flight security controller, I think we call him FSC. And he said that he and some of the guards had been observing some strange lights flying around the site, around the launch control facility. And he said they were acting very unusual, just flying around. And I said, well, you mean UFO? I think I used that word. You mean like UFOs? And he said, well, he said he didn't know what they were, but they were lights. They were flying around, and they weren't airplanes. They weren't making any noise. They were not helicopters. They were making some very strange maneuvers, and he couldn't explain them. He calls back, and this time he's very frightened. I can tell by the tone of his voice. He's very shook up, and said, "Sir, there's a glowing red object hovering right outside the front gate." And I'll show you where the gate might be located. But where he's located, he's got a large picture window of the front gate. And he said, "I'm looking at it right now. It's a glowing red object. I've got all the men out here with their weapons drawn." And of course, he was all shook up while he was telling me this. He was very excited. I didn't know what to make of it, but he wanted me to give him instructions or orders, tell him what to do. I immediately went over to my commander, who was taking a nap. We have a little cot down there in a rest period. And I was telling him about the telephone call we just received. And as I was relating this to him, our missiles started shutting down one by one. By shutting down, I meant they went into a no-go condition. No-go condition, meaning they could not be launched. So we get bells and whistles, we get a red light, no-go condition. So they started shutting down, and immediately he gets up, and we both start querying the status board. We've got the ability to query and determine what the cause of the shutdowns were. As I recall, most of them were guidance and control system failures. And then he started reporting to the command post. And in the meantime, I called upstairs to find out what the status was of this object. The guard said, well, the object has left. It just left at high speed. Extensive investigation of the entire incident, and was not able to come up with a probable cause for the shutdowns. And I've got quite a few witnesses that'll testify to that. We've got a couple of people who worked on the investigative team, and I've got correspondence from the fellow that actually organized the investigative team, and there was no viable explanation for this.
Insgesamt wurden an diesem Morgen 16 Raketen deaktiviert. Da jede dieser Raketen über ein eigenes Energieversorgungssystem verfügt, ist das simultane Ausfallen mehrerer Raketen höchst unwahrscheinlich. Wie wir gesehen haben, gibt es eindrucksvolle Fälle von UFOs, die in Kontakt mit unseren Nuklearwaffen kommen. Man darf dabei aber nicht vergessen, dass von solchen Ereignissen große Gefahren für die Sicherheit und den Frieden ausgehen können. UFOs könnten vom Militär fehlinterpretiert werden und zu gefährlichen Konflikten auf der Erde führen. Man stelle sich zudem vor, UFOs würden auf einmal beginnen, Nuklearraketen zu aktivieren und nicht mehr zu deaktivieren, wie es in den meisten Fällen beobachtet wurde. Über die Motive dieser Interaktion können wir nur spekulieren. Offensichtlich interessiert sich das Phänomen aber für unsere Nukleartechnologie. Möglicherweise betrifft diese die fremde Intelligenz mehr als wir denken oder sie versucht uns vor uns selbst zu retten. Ich hoffe jedenfalls, dass die Militärs rund um die Welt diese Vorkommnisse bewusst werden, damit im Ernstfall vernünftig reagiert werden kann.